This afternoon, Electoral Commission to begin vetting of nomination forms to determine if aspirant meets the requirements of law. We have details.
Also coming up, big day for the MPP in WaleWale as a relative of the Vice President faces off with his aide to determine who leads the party in what has gradually become a stronghold.
A lot later, religious leaders join groups piling pressure on government to get fight against illegal mining back on track. Hello there, it's the start of yet another week. This is News Central. I am Mawuena Egbeta.
And I am Judith Brown. The bulletin starts now. We start from your election command center, and it's a big day for the political front as political parties will have their flag bearers officially file their nominations for the December 7 polls. Already, the governing New Patriotic Party's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has filed his nomination, expressing confidence in sailing through this stage and emerging victorious in the polls. The NDC's John Dramani Mahama is also expected to file his nomination later today. We have all that for you right here on your election command center. Well, let's now touch base with our reporters covering this process for us. And we start with the MPP's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. My colleague Daniel Opoku was with the Vice President when he filed his nomination and followed through at the MPP headquarters, where he addressed a gathering of party supporters. He's joining us live with details. Daniel, good afternoon. Now, talk to us about the process first at the EC headquarters.
So, as you stated earlier, after President was submitting his nomination form to the Electoral Commission, the Vice President and his team proceeded to the party headquarters, where a short while ago he just finished addressing the party faithful. Earlier we had the General Secretary of the party faithful, the General Secretary of the party, Justin Kodia, who spoke to the party about the need for them to go all out and campaign for the party. Then, right after him, in fact, they took turns to speak. So right after him, you had the party chairman, Mr. Sidney, who also emphasized or reiterated his point that earlier I had told them that if the party is able to produce a flag bearer, he's in the position to give them a president. So he's ready to give the party or the country a president. Therefore, was when the Vice President stepped in to also speak to the party, where he promised that they all have to go out and ensure that the party wins 2024 elections, where he talked about the analogy of a maid of a driver, where he, being the member of a political party, the MPP, they have been able to fight and weather the storm right from day one to moving a vehicle to WaleWale. That he believes that former President Mahama coming back to reset whatever he wants to reset actually, clearly going to take Ghana backwards. And he believes that the party, people should be ready to vote for him to win the election.
Right, now let's talk about the address at the MPP headquarters. What exactly has he been saying there?
Right, so he also spoke about digital economy. Well, under him, he has been able to roll out a lot of digital initiatives. He emphasized on the free SHS because as a vice president, where he was able to speak to his electorate, asking them based on what he has done or based on what the party has done, he believes that the party should be able to campaign for him to win elections. And the majority leader in Parliament, Mr. Fenyama, also spoke about the need to hand over the party, to hand over the political MPP party to a Muslim freedom. So he calls on the Christian community, the religious bodies, the interfaith groups for them to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to win upcoming election.
Ryan, many thanks for your time. That's my colleague Daniel Opoku bringing us details right there from the MPP. headquarters, and also the Electoral Commission, where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, flag bearer of the NPP, filed his nomination there this morning. Of course, we have more on elections now.
Absolutely. And for now, we're beginning to get a clearer sense of what the picture is like for the various tickets and the candidature which makes them up. Perhaps we'll start from the front of the governing New Patriotic Party, whose ticket has been complete, as we've known for quite a while. Both candidates have been on the campaign trail all throughout the last month. The flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, with his running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, who were all both present at the party's headquarters this morning, after they were both present as well at the Electoral Commission's office, where they kick-started the filing of nominations for a lot of the aspirants who are gunning to make it to the seat of government, the Jubilee House. But away from the NPP, we can see that ticket of the opposition party as well, the NDC, and there it is for you. The flag bearer, John Mahama, expected in the Bunu region today, will be there a lot later in the course of this bulletin, but the expectation is that his nomination as well will be filed on his behalf by national executives of the party, and then his running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyemang, who's also been on the campaign trail over the last 1 month. For the remainder of the other parties, the Movement for Change, the New Force, and the likes, the requirement as part of filing of the nomination as we know it is that it should have the full complement of the flag bearer and the running mate. In the case of the independent candidate, the individuals who are serving themselves or putting themselves up to be the choice of a candidate come elections 2024 must associate themselves along with their running mates. We do not have the full complement, and that we understand will form a part of the Electoral Commission's scrutiny of these nomination forms, which are being submitted from today up until the week's end. But let's hear from the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Madam Jean Mensah, who says that the submitted forms will be scrutinized to determine each of the candidates meets the requirements of law.
The Commission has developed a checklist that embodies the criteria to be satisfied by all the presidential candidates. The checklist will guide the scoring and awarding of marks by teams established by the Commission to scrutinize and review each of the nomination forms submitted. As in 2020, the Commission has established 2 teams which will review all forms submitted. The technical team has been tasked to scrutinize the forms submitted to ensure that the presidential candidates meet the qualifications as set out in law, namely that the candidate is at least 40 years of age, that he or she has satisfied all tax obligations, and that he or she has nominated a vice presidential candidate, amongst others. The second team, namely the IT team, has been charged with the responsibility of scrutinizing the voter ID cards of all presidential candidates and their supporters, so as to verify whether the candidates and their supporters are indeed registered voters. Both teams have been provided with training, and we have no doubt that they will conduct themselves in a fair but firm process. Yes. Additionally, we are confident that the 5-day period that has been provided for the filing of nomination, as opposed to the 2 days prior to 2020, will allow enough time for the presidential candidates to correct any errors on their forms.
That's the Electoral Commissioner, Jean Mensah. Let's take you there right now, the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. My colleague Noble Crosby-Annan is on standby, where a number of the candidates have been coming through to file their nominations. Kofi Akpaloo of the LPG, Enes Kente as well, was present at the Electoral Commission's headquarters to file his nomination. Let's take you there right now and speak to Noble Crosby-Annan and get an understanding as to exactly what the situation is. Crosby, let's start off with the candidates which have passed by the headquarters of the Electoral Commission to file. Were they present with their vice presidential candidates, do we know?
Exactly. So as part of the requirements, these candidates who have come to the process of the Electoral Commission, and this is where all the action is happening. This is where all the candidates come to submit their forms, and they meet with the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who will also be the returning officer of the December 7 general elections. The candidates who come here, they come with their Ghana that happened for LPG that also happened. So it's part of their requirement, if you like. Although they can be represented, a lot of them come with their vice presidential candidates. Some also are coming without their vice presidential candidates. But this is where all the action is happening. This is where about 6 presidential candidates, those belonging to political parties or independent candidates, have come to submit their forms, Eric.
And let's talk about what they've been saying. You've mentioned some have come. Perhaps you start off with the individuals who've come. We've seen Kofi Akpaloo on the screen. We know that the vice president as well has been there. Who else has been there so far?
So beyond the NPP and the flag bearer, Dr. Bawumia, who came in the company of some other party executives, from the national chairman to the general secretary, also the former chairman of the party, as well as some other top MPP appointees or government appointees, if you like, including the majority leader points. So they were all here to support the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, submit his nomination forms. Beyond that, like you've mentioned, you see the LPG have also come here to submit their forms. The Ghana Union Movements, they've also been here to submit forms. Now, Nana Kwame Bediak, also known as Cheddar, the independent candidate, has also been here to submit the forms. Another independent candidate, he has been here. He left a few moments ago. We've also seen George Chumbury Managing, another independent candidate, come to submit their forms. I must also add that these candidates, when they come, they do not spend a lot of time. It's in about 5 minutes, between 5 and 10 minutes, they will be done. Just a few introductions, the documents they have brought, and then the chairperson addresses them, assures them of the Commission's commitment to free and fair elections, and then it is all said and done. The exchange pleasantries in the daily hearing.
Right then, you've been speaking to Kofi Akpaloo, who is the flag bearer of the Liberal Party of Ghana. Let's take a listen to exactly what he's been saying and his chances ahead of the December 7 elections.
So, you submitted your forms today. Your levels of confidence, if you like.
Oh, in terms of winning the elections? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm winning the elections. Nothing will stop that. Yeah, forget about the numerical strength of the MPP and the NDC. This election is going to be different, and I'm believing God that it's going to surprise everybody. And it's something that Ghanaians will not understand. Yeah, for years to come. It will take them years for them to understand what has actually happened. Because I'm going to win this election. I'll win it hands down.
The MPP and the NDC, they have a lot of voters behind them. Beyond the voters, what other strategies do you have to win?
I have a lot of voters, more than you can see. You know, we have more voters than them. They are just displaying people, moving one set of people from here to the other. They are just recycling them. That's why you think they have numbers. No. Let's wait to the election day and let's see what comes out.
From here, what next for you?
We are going on a campaign. So make sure we move straight to campaign grounds and do the work and do it well.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.
And that's the Kofi Akpaloo, who is the flag bearer of the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG. We'll return to the Electoral Commission's headquarters, where a number of the other presidential hopefuls have been speaking. But let's check with the camp of the opposition NDC, because its flag bearer, John Mahama, will be submitting his forms in the afternoon. But we know he is meeting the Bono Regional House of Chiefs currently. Komla Kruche is with him and is joining us right now with a bit more details. Komla, we understand the former president will not personally be submitting the forms. Fill us in on that.
Absolutely. John Mahama will not be in Accra. He is in Shishunyai now, the regional capital of the Bono region. Currently, just behind me is the Regional House of Chiefs, where he's meeting with them. In there, the president of the Bono Regional House of Chiefs, and the Domahini Osagyefo Osiadeyo Ajimambedi, together with his vice and his council of chiefs, have been meeting together with John Mahama, and they've been expressing some very, very deep concerns. First off, he has commended John Mahama and described him as the infrastructure king, and it's undoubtedly said so. And this is not the first time that the Domahini is saying this, but a concern to him, which resonates really across the spectacles from all the palaces that John Mahama has visited, is the issue about the illegal transfer of votes that the chiefs in the Bono region have raised. But let's listen to the Domahini speaking just a short while ago, complaining vehemently and equally putting his chieftaincy on the line that if anybody foments trouble, he will personally leave his seat and pursue that individual legally. Let's listen to him speak.
Oh yeah, and then my bit is yeah, registration yeah, baby. Yeah, register to baby and I be yeah. Na no baba transfer of votes to nade. Yeah, na sadia way at the chiaba. Yeah, nti baby bebre amrent me mamenka. Yeah. Binim wa nipa be mpemienu mpemiensa mpemenan. Yeah. Bedini ba ye free ho e ko baby. Yeah, say ni bakure. Anya ba pe. Ya be call Electoral Commission was benyi bedini free. Yeah. No no da ya ba. Yeah. Na de no tia ya kase. Yeah. Ya srobe. E baby na fa baby. Ba pesa bibi na kwaso. Sabadi bukata na se besisi ye. Yeah. Yes, Electoral Commission for. Yeah. Sa de no benhwe ne yi. Yeah. Electoral register obia register ni di ne wom. Yeah. Benfama party for. Yeah. That be my MPP. Yeah. That be my NDC. Yeah. That be my PNC. Yeah. That be my CPP. Yeah. That be my me and the CHRAJ don't go. Yeah. That be my CHRAJ. Na be ko magum ni obia na ko ba se benyina ba wodini no na ba hu bibi sanya. Yeah. Na amunamuni ya timi ehu akokora no. Yeah.
Domahini there, Keminni Amanor is still with us in relation to John Mahama's visit. So, Keminni, from the House of Chiefs, where next for Mr. Mahama?
He's headed off to the German North, the German South constituency, and from there he'll be heading towards the Brekum area. Quite a packed day for him. And shortly after that, he would be holding rallies and the like, also canvassing for votes and galvanizing the base of the party, ostensibly to get the support of the party. The expectation is that the NDC would do quite well in the Bono region, because most of the complaints that the people do make is to the effect that the situation that the country finds itself, the economic situation, I mean, has affected everybody, and they do not see any solution coming from the government hearing.
Right then, Keminni, many thanks for those details. That's Keminni Amanor, my colleague with the John Mahama campaign team. This is still your election command center, and we're staying with matters in relation to elections, Judith.
Absolutely, and this afternoon, the People's National Convention is swearing in its flag bearer, Bernard Mawuena, and national executives-elect. Bernard and other national executives were elected at a dramatic congress on Saturday. However, the 2020 presidential candidate for the party, David Apasera, is highly discontented with the outcome of the results and promised to contest the results in courts. But the party insists on carrying through with the investiture. Stanley Nible, who has been following up on the developments in the party and joins us live. Stanley, what's the latest right there?
Just a couple of minutes ago, the PNC leadership has sworn in the new executives, which is Bernard Mawuena occupying the flag bearership position, and then there are other national executives, including something as Awingobit, who is also occupying the national chairmanship position. You know, the party earlier yesterday, David Apasera, who actually lost to Bernard Mawuena, was very discontentful about the entire process, because he said election or the Congress that was held was fraught with several anomalies. And so people that are supposed to partake in the exercise to vote so that he can emerge or retain his position as a flag bearer, those people were omitted and were prevented from taking part in the process. And so for him, he is going to seek a legal redress. But he's also seeking to injunct Bernard Mona from partaking in or filing his nomination to contest the 2024 general elections. And so this afternoon, the party did not wait because the party says it has not received anything, any form of injunction. And so it has gone ahead to swear in Bernard Mona and then the other executives that have been elected.
Well, Stanley, any ideas about whether or when Bernard Mona intends to file his nomination?
Please, can you come again with your question?
I'm asking if you have any idea when Bernard Mona will intend to file his nomination at the EC.
Yes, so Bernard Mona, after being sworn in, he's going to today, after this swearing-in ceremony, is going to engage in a functional executive meeting with the party leadership so that they will, actually, they have actually assembled a number of people that he would choose one from to partner to go and file as his running mate. And so we are waiting for that one to also happen here at the party's headquarters at Ababana.
Right, many thanks for your time. Let's now listen to Bernard Mona, who is currently being sworn in as the flag bearer of the PNC.
I have and I am ready to work with David Apasara to see the rebounding of the PNC to its glorious position. All those who feel a little hurt because of pronouncements and actions during our campaign, we regret those pronouncements, but this is the time to rebuild and to rebound. Those of our colleagues who broke away, I tell you that I'm coming to grab you back into the PNC. For our friends in the NDC and MPP, be assured that we just did not come to add to the numbers.
Apologies for the sound there, but we have more election stories for you later in the bulletin. But for now, let's do some stories on galamsey. Mawuena.
And the ravages of galamsey have reached its tipping point, with religious leaders joining the fight in demanding immediate government action to prevent further destruction of the country's lands. Labour groups, including the Ghana Medical Association, along with its sister unions in the health sector, have joined calls for the declaration of a state of emergency within the mining sector and a complete ban on all small-scale mining activity in the country. Well, this weekend, some pastors used their pulpits to demand action from the government and citizens to end the menace which has destroyed lands and water bodies. Here is head pastor of the Perez Dome, Bishop Charles Ajenasari, asking government to take action.
In fact, the consequences of galamsey are so dire. It leads to environmental degradation of the water bodies, poses significant risks to public health. Some, their heads are like goats, some their heads are like monkeys. We can't all shut up. Tell somebody we can't all shut up. Galamsey areas are having developmental issues. They can't even grow again. Some of them can't grow again. And some babies, when they are born, they don't even survive anymore because of galamsey. In Hosea chapter 4, from verse 1 to 3, river in Ghana, but you see they are not mining it because and I said the reason why. They said because of leadership and because of the love for the country, they won't mine it. Our politicians love the money more than the people. Our chiefs, some of our chiefs and some of our politicians, they love the money.
That's Bishop Charles Ajenasari. Well, the head pastor of the Alabasta International Ministries, Prophet Kofi Oduro, he chastised leaders in Ghana for allowing galamsey to thrive in the country.
Nonsense. Have people who are in authority powering them. One pump action gun is 40,000 Ghana cedis. So who buys pump action guns and give to these people who are able to face the police and the soldiers? They can face them because they have been empowered by people in authority. They have eaten their cake and they are still looking for it. Wicked leaders will be judged. Now Ghana Medical Association is telling the Republic of Ghana that stop every act, whether it's galamsey or small scale mining, whatever, stop it immediately. Because now we are having children with 2 heads, children with only 3 fingers. If it comes more, 17 fingers. We are having birth deformations from the chemicals of this menace. And we have a president of this country. We have a cabinet of this country. We have a parliament of this country who looks on irresponsibly. You know, at least we have a chief in this country who is trying, can kiss 2 people. You are galamsey. Your Majesty, you're saying to the second, at least you are trying. That trying should be the leadership of this nation. Look.
Well, it does appear the conversation in relation to galamsey has reared its head at the ongoing bar conference, where government has reaffirmed its resolve not to renege on its effort to bring an end to illegal mining, locally referred to as galamsey. Currently, over 100 galamsey-related cases are being pursued to prosecute perpetrators, according to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame. He was speaking at the 2024-2025 Annual General Conference of the Ghana Bar Association, currently ongoing at the Great Hall of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi.
From August 2021 to date, at least 76 persons, including 18 foreigners, have been convicted. They include the acclaimed Chinese galamsey queen, Aisha Huan, who was convicted on 4th December 2023 of offenses committed between 2014 and 2016 in the era of the previous government. Most of the convicts were sentenced under the new law at 995 to a minimum of 15 years plus a hefty fine for a non-Ghanaian. Currently, over 140 cases of illegal mining involving over 850 accused persons are being prosecuted in courts in the Western, Eastern, Ashanti, Greater and Upper East regions of Ghana. Some are near conclusion, which have kept the nation safe and sound.
That's the Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame. Let's touch base with my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar, who's at that event for us for a bit more. Ibrahim, we know that the GBA president has been speaking, has been very critical of government. What's he been saying?
Exactly, Mawuena. It appears the Ghana Bar Association is not in tune, or it's not in support of government claims of making headway when it comes to the fight against illegal mining locally referred to as galamsey, because they said what they have observed has been in recent times, it appears the activities even on the rise, contrary to government assertion that they have fighting it. And it's about time they begin to tackle it the right way. Yes, of course, some arrests have been made, people have been prosecuted, but then are these the real perpetrators? Are these people the real people behind the illegal mining activity? That is where the question is. And they want government to probe further, because there have been instances and even people providing evidence that political people and heads are involved in this galamsey activity. And it appears government has relaxed on this, and a case where the president has put his line even on the activity, but yet illegal mining activity keeps going on. Yao Echampong Boafo is the president of the Ghana Bar Association.
Despite the efforts and assurance of government to deal with the menace, there appears to be a consensus that not much has been done to effectively and roundly deal with it. To be blunt, things are getting worse. An issue which poses an existentialist threat to our nation so severe that His Excellency the President put his presidency on the line, unfortunately has degenerated into a political football match between the major political parties as to who polluted the water the most. It was quite shocking and most regrettable when a member of the leadership of Parliament on the floor of Parliament stated that the minority party during this period in government polluted the waters of Ghana more than the ruling party. Such a responsible statement by a member of Parliament is symptomatic of the malaise affecting our dear nation. Every issue must be reduced to partisan point scoring while our nations bleeds dry. It reveals an uncaring political elite only interested in holding lofty positions in government. The anecdotal evidence that galamsey is controlled by powerful interests in Ghana cannot be ignored. The state must be honest and deal with the real powers behind this menace. We cannot deal with galamsey by organizing public fora and making noise on our airwaves.
That's a GBA president. We know as well, Ibrahim, that the Chief Justice is present, has been speaking. What's she been saying?
Well, because the conference is based, this team is based on the election, she focused on the election, and she said that there has been called that there should be a special court system that will handle parliamentary disputes, just like the presidential petition and other things, because over the years, what has been observed is that sometimes such cases take a long time in court and it affects development in other constituencies. So she's saying those amendments have been made, and going into the 2024 election, and they will ensure that in an event there is a parliamentary dispute, they will handle it specially so that it will expedite action when it comes to that case. Gertrude Tokono has been speaking on that day.
The Court Committee has worked on amendments to the High Court Civil Procedure Rules CR 47/2004 to introduce dedicated rules on the resolution of parliamentary elections. It was noted in previous election cycles that the absence of a dedicated time frame for resolution of parliamentary election disputes and the subjecting of such disputes to the regular procedural rules of court led to horrendous abuse of the adjudicatory process. These amendments seek to address this phenomenon and introduce further measures for expedited hearings, such as electronic service of.
Ibrahim, let's round up the conversation with what is a crucial election ahead of the GBA, two individuals, Agbeshi and then the wife of Joe Gatti. How's it looking like on the grounds? Is there still campaign ongoing at this particular point?
Exactly. In fact, that campaign has even been intensified. And more worrying, the GBA president even spoke about the election. They said that ahead of the December 7 election, GBA must prove it to Ghanaians why it must also, it's able to speak when it comes to matters of national interest. And they have to use this election to prove that, because he has observed that some of the candidates are promising things that is beyond them when it comes to DJ, and others are also playing politics of insult and other things. So they have been advised on that basis to play fairly and squarely, so that at the end of the day, whoever is chosen, they all rally behind that person, and so that the person will steer the affairs of GBA and make sure that they are also relevant and able to discuss issues when it comes to matters of national interest. So, and they have started, as you can see, the president is currently speaking, and some of them are outside in. The engagement is ongoing before the election time.
Right then, Ibrahim, as always, many thanks for those details. That's my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar speaking to us from the Great Hall at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi. We'll stay with the subject of illegal mining because CHRAJ boss Joseph Whittal has added his voice to the calls for the president to ban the activities of illegal mining and declare a state of emergency. In an interview with the BBC, as the quotes on your screen, it says the Commission feels so disappointed in the fight against galamsey and artisanal mining. We are disappointed that no less a person than the President will put his presidency on the line. There's a lot more from him. I've heard some people call on the President to declare a state of emergency, and I actually subscribe to that. Why wait? If you look at the pollution and the effect it is already having, it appears the government seems unconcerned and is ignoring all these worrying trends. I don't understand. The Commission, like he says, feels disappointed in the fight against galamsey, and that no mean of a person like the President could put his presidency on the line and still not have been able to deal with the effects of galamsey. On that galamsey notes, we're going for our very first break here on News Central. When we return, by the numbers and take you to WaleWale. Welcome back to News Central, and we'll get into by the numbers and then the ongoing rerun of the WaleWale NPP primary. But there's yet another matter of importance which has to do with the Black Stars of Ghana, who have an opportunity to bring in confidence. And we'll hear from Coach Otuado shortly. But Bele Shen is with Free Sport. He's in studio with me. I have a quick chat in relation to that game. Bill, right, we can hear from Coach Otuado before we engage Bele Shen.
I think the only thing is from a psychological point of view, for sure. But at the end of the day, even if we would have won against Angola, we would have come here to win, and this for sure. This game, we are surely the favorites, and yeah, I'm very, very confident that we'll win this game. But in football, anything can happen, and we saw it last time against Angola. And the way the game looked, I would never thought that we'll lose this game. But in football, now there's no weak opponent. So we have to be focused, we have to be concentrated, we have to do our job. And then the probability that we win is very, very high.
And that's Black Stars coach Otuado, who says optimistic, very high, the chances that we beat Niger today. Bill, you've been following the team after that 1-0 loss. Is his optimism one that reflects with the squad, and we can look forward to a confident win by the Black Stars a lot later today?
I do understand why he's optimistic ahead of the game against Niger, because since the start of 2023, Niger have actually played 19 games and won just 5, losing 11. And during that process, they've conceded about 22 goals, and that translates to about 1.2 goals conceded per game. And so the chances of them actually conceding in the game is quite high. And so that would give Otuado some confidence. But then again, looking at the kind of form that we've had, apart from the 2 wins against Mali, Central African Republic, we sort of struggled from the AFCON until now. And so it's a bit dicey, but it's understandable why Otuado would be confident in beating a team like Niger, who have conceded 22 goals, as I mentioned earlier, scored just 15 out of the 19 matches they played since the start of 2023. And
we're seeing their record on the screens right now. 19 games, won 5, like you mentioned, drawn 3 with 11 defeats. What's our head-to-head like against Niger as well? Is this a game that we almost always would win?
So we played against Niger in lower levels. I remember that of the local Black Stars playing against them and then losing to them by 2-0 in the African Championship. And so when it comes to local football, I believe the Niger team... Now,
because of the bad nature of the pitch, it didn't allow the Black Stars to be able to express themselves as they'd like, to be able to connect the play and then secure a confident enough victory. We're playing in Morocco, where the pitches are great, it's all good. Does that add something more to our game, which will give fans a lot more confidence that things could turn out for the good?
It goes both ways. It does add something good to the Black Stars, of course. That means.
So is this as a result of injury? What's the reason why we're not seeing? There's a likelihood that he will not be present, and then we can look ahead to what the starting 11 could be like.
So the injury is on Jerome Opoku. He had a bit of an injury issue, but it was aggravated in training at Ghana. And that is, I mean, according to the Black Stars, is because of the pitch, the bad nature of the pitch that aggravated the injury and made it worse. And so he's not part of the squad. He's traveling back to Turkey to play for his club and to do some medical tests. For Joseph Pinto, it's more or less passport issues that he has to sort. And because of that, he didn't travel with the squad to Morocco.
He didn't get a passport to Morocco? He didn't get a visa to Morocco?
Yeah,
is that the case?
Visa. Yeah, so he didn't travel with the squad to Morocco. He's currently in Ghana, and he should be returning to his club in the USA very, very shortly.
Right then, Bill, many thanks for those details. That's Bele Shen, my colleague here at 3 Sports, providing a bit more details there for us. A crucial game a lot later today where the Black Stars would face Niger, and we'll look forward to that and bring you details. We're going for yet another break. We return with By the Numbers and take you to WaleWale.
every moment counts. One team stands ready to deliver the news that shapes our lives. A team driven by truth, integrity, and unwavering dedication. They travel to the front lines in the tireless pursuit of truth to bring you the world stories like never before. Get ready to witness the stories that matter. We have the most trusted voices in journalism who are committed to delivering accurate, balanced, and thought-provoking news. TV3, first in news.
When the sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between.
On Ghana Tonight, it's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda.
Today, we put the focus on the WaleWale constituency and why this constituency is key to the electoral fortunes of the two leading political parties, the MPP and the NDC. Of course, Mawuena is standing by with a touchscreen analysis of this. So, Mawuena, tell us, first, let's start with the presidential elections. Now, the constituency started off as an NDC stronghold, but this seems to have changed. Why is that?
Absolutely, and you could make the argument that this is as a result of the Bawumia factor. It's been a theory that's been spoken about quite greatly as a result of the fortunes of the NPP improving in the northern part of the country, and a similar argument can be made for the WaleWale constituency, an area where he actually hails from. And so this is the trajectory of what the presidential elections have looked like since '96. And we always make the reference point from '96 because we saw active participation of the governing New Patriotic Party from the 1996 elections. And so the NDC confidently, 71.7% winning in that particular constituency, without a doubt, has been a stronghold since then. In the 2000 election, that dropped to about 37%. It continued around the 30 percentile region. And then in 2008, that's when the presence of Dr. Bawumia began to tell with regards to the fortunes of the NPP. And if you look at from 2000 up until 2004, the NPP's best performance was 29.1%. But that improved greatly when Dr. Bawumia made the first time showing in the 2008 elections. And we saw the NPP's fortunes improved greatly, 39.4%, and then the NDC seeing 44.6% in the presidential. Now, from 2012, that's 4 years on, it flipped. And has flipped since then, with the NPP winning in that particular constituency. 53% is gone up to 54% in 2016 when they won by a landslide over 1 million votes. That continues to be a significant milestone in the fourth Republican history of this particular constitution. And then in 2020 as well, we saw 53.4% of the result. And so this is what the presidential has looked like with regards to the fortunes of the NPP in the WaleWale constituency.
Right. Now, those are very interesting figures there. But is that the same for the parliamentary elections?
And we'll walk you through the parliamentary elections right now and have a look at exactly what it says in the parliamentary elections in WaleWale as well. And so this is what it looks like in WaleWale for the parliamentary elections. And it's been a similar trajectory. The NDC doing it quite successfully, a stronghold regardless, strong, performing really strong since '96. The NPP struggling to be able to put a foothold from there. In 2000, there was an improvement. In '96, the NPP didn't quite contest, but in 2000, there was a candidate in 2004. And then in 2008, they came up very close in that particular election. But like the presidential, we saw the fortunes of the NPP change significantly in the WaleWale constituency. They winning for the very first time 42.9% of the votes. In 2016, they improved upon it, took it to 52%. And then in 2020, they continued in that particular trajectory, 51.2%. But there's an interesting dynamic in relation to what the fortunes of the party has been. But since 2012, we've seen consistently the influence of the vice president ensuring that the NPP has been able to secure that seat and has made it their own, Judith.
Very, very interesting. But looking at these figures, what are we looking like? What is the December polls looking like, basically? Now,
the December polls will be an interesting watch because I mentioned that in 2020, although the NPP won that particular seat, the incumbent currently in a rerun of some sort with the aid of the vice president, she won that seat with a little under 2,000 votes. And so the votes difference between the NPP and then the NDC in the 2020 elections was not too far-fetched or was not too stretched, a little under 2,000. But what are we seeing in the WaleWale constituency? We're seeing the party sharply divided as a result of the parliamentary primary. In January, there was a primary, Dr. Kabiru and then the Hajia Zubaira, all of them going into a rerun. What it means is that depending on what the outcome is today and how fast the party is able to close its ranks, we could see the NDC make an attempt, because already We've been to Tamale when the NDC launched their campaign, where the party is focusing strongly on a number of these constituencies to be able to win the seat back. So dicey, but we'll see what happens come December 7.
Exactly. Thanks so much, Mawuena. He's been giving us the dynamics with regards to the WaleWale constituency, whether or not the MPP or the NDC will be able to pull their weights as regards to the election, judging from the issues that are happening right there in that constituency. That's it for By the Numbers right here on News Central. Well, let's head to WaleWale now, and it's a straight fight between a relative of the Vice President and an aide to the Vice President to decide who will be the MPP's parliamentary candidate. This has become necessary as a result of the High Court ordering a rerun of the January primary. One of the aspirants, Dr. Tia Kabiru Mahama, has been speaking to our Northern Bureau Chief, Evans Inkum.
Here, so far, not too long ago, there was misunderstanding. A few meters from here, some people have suspected that a strange car could be carrying some stuff. I mean, ballot papers. But the police had to come in swiftly, and I can tell you that that car has been towed to the police station. That is what we know, and they really want to know what the car was actually containing as far as this particular election is concerned. So it's been perception and rumor galore, but when it happens, the police and the military come in strongly to douse any further escalation. We still do not know the numbers as to how many people have been able to cast their vote, because we still do not have, none of the media houses here has an accreditation, so we are unable to enter the main voting center to really understand as to how many people have cast their vote so far. But I can tell you there are still a colossal number of delegates who are still outside waiting to also have their turn as far as the electoral process is concerned, or the voting process is concerned. So far here, there hasn't been any incident. Just that a few meters from here, that was where a car, people thought that car was carrying some material suspecting to be something that you say could mar the process of a smooth exercise. But the police and military have towed the car to the police station, and they are going to investigate as to whether the car contained any material at all.
Many thanks for your time. That's my colleague Evans William Inkum bringing us details from the WaleWale constituency right there. And that's all we have for you right here on your Election Command Center.
And we are your Election Command Center, bringing an end to this afternoon's edition of News Central. But remember that we'll be on hand to bring you details from the WaleWale constituency as it comes through. Like I mentioned, that's our bulletin.